The landscape of boxing is at a pivotal moment, one in which the sport could experience significant changes in its structure, governance, and the way major bouts are promoted. As the focus shifts towards the highly anticipated showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, there are bigger forces at play, forces that could reshape the sport in ways fans and fighters may not expect. At the heart of this transformation is Dana White, the UFC president, who has been stirring the pot by making it clear that he intends to disrupt the world of boxing. With his extensive experience in building the UFC into a global phenomenon, White's involvement in the sport brings a unique vision, one that prioritizes the best fighters facing each other, without the typical delays and politics that have bogged down the sport for years. White's move into boxing is not without its complications. While many fight fans are buzzing about the potential matchup between Canelo and Crawford, there is a much larger picture unfolding behind the scenes. The news that Canelo Alvarez's management, led by Turki Alak, has entered into a deal for Alvarez's next 4 fights has caught the attention of industry insiders. This deal, which puts Canelo under Alak's control without a traditional promoter, marks a departure from his previous relationships with promoters like Matchroom, Golden Boy, and the PBC Premier Boxing Champions. This change of direction opens the door for a new player to emerge in the boxing world. White, in partnership with Alak and backed by the powerful financial support of Saudi investors, is making strategic moves that could redefine how major fights are organized and promoted. As the UFC has transformed MMA into a powerhouse, Dana White's vision could bring a similar revolution to boxing. The initial hints of this major shift came with Alak's statement about a significant announcement regarding the Canelo-Crawford fight. The announcement, scheduled after Canelo's May 3 fight against Billy Joe Saunders, promises to reveal key details about the fight and its promotion. Speculation runs rampant regarding the nature of the announcement. Will it be about the fight itself or something even more significant, like the new entity that will promote it? At this point, it's clear that the stakes go beyond a simple boxing match. With White, Alak, and the Saudis all in the mix, this is becoming a battle for control over the future of boxing. Traditional promotional companies and networks are being forced to confront this new wave of influence that threatens to reframe the structure of the sport. The decision of who will promote the fight, where it will take place, and how it will be broadcast will have lasting implications for the entire sport. Alak has confirmed that he holds the reins for Canelo's next 4 bouts, which gives him the power to decide not only the promoters but also the venues and the overall structure of the fights. This is a sharp departure from the traditional model where major fighters sign with promoters who then negotiate deals with broadcasters and other stakeholders. By stepping outside of this system, Canelo's camp is positioning themselves to control their destiny in ways that are unprecedented in the sport. Adding to the intrigue is the rumored involvement of Dana White in this shift. White has already signaled that he intends to play a major role in the future of boxing. His reputation as a disruptor in the world of MMA, having transformed the UFC from a niche combat sport into a mainstream juggernaut, is well known. Now, he is applying that same mindset to boxing, seeking to streamline the process and eliminate the long-standing politics that have frustrated fans and fighters alike. One of the most significant aspects of White's potential involvement in boxing is the emphasis he places on getting the best fighters in the ring with each other. In the UFC, this philosophy has led to more competitive matchups, with fighters being pushed to compete against the toughest opponents in their division. White has made it clear that his goal for boxing is to eliminate the negotiation drama that often delays or prevents marquee fights from happening. He has expressed his frustration with the bureaucracy of boxing, where promoters, networks, and managers often create roadblocks to make the biggest fights happen. The buzz surrounding the potential Canelo-Crawford fight is not just about the fighters themselves but about the larger implications for the sport's future. Canelo and Crawford are 2 of the best fighters of their generation, and a fight between them would be a true showcase of boxing's talent. But this fight has even greater significance because of the potential shift in how boxing is promoted and structured. If White and Alec successfully promote this fight, it could signal the beginning of a new era in which the sport's future is shaped by new players, people who have the vision to shake up the system and make boxing more competitive, transparent, and accessible. The venue for this potential fight is another piece of the puzzle that has generated a great deal of speculation. Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas has been mentioned as a possible location, adding to the intrigue. Las Vegas has long been the epicenter of major boxing events, and the idea of holding such a high-profile fight in a state-of-the-art stadium only elevates the stakes. If this fight takes place in such a venue, it will not only be a milestone for Canelo and Crawford but also for the sport as a whole. It's also important to note the role of the Saudis in this evolving narrative. Saudi investors have been increasingly involved in high-profile sports events, particularly in boxing, with significant financial backing. This is another factor that adds complexity to the situation. The Saudi connection means that the financial resources are there to back a massive event, but it also raises questions about the long-term influence of outside investors in the sport. One thing that is clear is that Dana White's entry into boxing brings with it a new sense of direction and purpose. White has always been about delivering big events, and his involvement in boxing suggests that the sport is about to see a major transformation. His push to have the top fighters face off in the biggest bouts with no excuses is a principle that fans have long been asking for. If White's model is successful, it could eliminate the frustrating delays that have often kept boxing fans from seeing the fights they want to see. However, there are also concerns about how this new approach might affect fighter compensation. The UFC has long been criticized for its pay structure, with fighters earning less than their counterparts in other major sports. If Dana White brings a similar model to boxing, some believe it could have negative consequences for fighter pay. On the other hand, White's presence could also open the door to more lucrative opportunities for fighters if he can streamline the business side of things and create a more sustainable model for the sport. One fighter who has weighed in on this shift is Ryan Garcia, who has been vocal about the potential benefits and challenges that Dana White's involvement could bring to boxing. Garcia recognizes White's ability to bring legitimacy and global attention to the sport, but he also acknowledges the need for careful consideration regarding how fighters will be compensated and treated under this new model. While Garcia and others may have their reservations, there is no denying that the involvement of Dana White and Alec in boxing is a game changer. The combination of White's promotional expertise, Alec's control over Canelo's next fights, and the financial backing of Saudi investors creates a powerful force that could redefine the sport. The question is not just whether Canelo and Crawford will fight but under whose banner it will take place and what that means for the future of boxing. As the fight world waits for the official confirmation of this blockbuster matchup, the entire sport stands at a crossroads. The direction boxing takes in the coming years could be influenced by the decisions made behind closed doors in the coming months. If White and Alec are successful in reshaping the business of boxing, it could lead to a new era of competitive bouts, more transparency, and a greater emphasis on putting the best fighters in the ring together. But only time will tell if these changes will truly benefit the sport and its athletes or if they will create new challenges that fans and fighters alike will need to navigate. In the end, the potential Canelo-Crawford fight isn't just about two legendary fighters squaring off. It's a symbol of the larger changes happening in the world of boxing. With new players, new strategies, and new power structures emerging, the future of the sport is being written in real time. And whether fans are excited or apprehensive, one thing is for sure: boxing is on the verge of something big.